Hello, my name is Carrie Collins, and I'll be speaking on our paper, The Effect of Diet on the Growth Performance, Feed Conversion, and Nutrient Content of the House Cricket. This is entitled, How Do You Like Your Crickets? What prompted our research is a global problem. The United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization estimates global population growth may exceed food sources available for 9 billion people by the year 2050. This may double the impact of global malnutrition and diet-related diseases. Currently, there are approximately 235 million children under the age of 5 affected by poor nutrition in Southern Asia alone. Because of this, there is a global effort to find sustainable and nutritious sources of food. Entomophagy, the eating of insects, is already a major source of nutrition for 2 billion people. There are about 2,000 edible insects, and Acheta domesticus, or the domestic cricket, is already popular because of their preferred taste and texture. And they're also already available in many 7-Elevens and markets throughout Thailand as a snack. There is also an RDI, or recommended daily intake, established for them. There is less of an environmental impact when rearing crickets when compared to crops and livestock. Crops use 70% of our fresh water supply. Livestock use 8% of our fresh water and 30% of our crop yield. Crickets also produce significantly less carbon dioxide and ammonia gas per body mass per day than pigs and cattle, the most prominent livestock. Pigs produce 2 to 28 and cattle produce 5.98 gram per kilogram of body mass per day of carbon dioxide compared to crickets' 0.05. And pigs produce 5 to 57 and cattle 14 to 170 milligrams per kilograms of body mass per day of ammonia gas compared to a cricket's 5.4. There have been several studies done on A. domesticus in the past, How the Cricket's Nutritional Profile Relates to Diet by McFarland, Essential Diet for Optimal Growth and Development by Orenda, Cricket Survival Rate, Feed Efficiency and Development Time Influenced by Different Diets by Osenix. There is also literature on the species diet, but it is old, and relevant research articles are limited. Taking the information from previous studies, we're able to compare nutrient values of crickets to both beef and chicken. Per 100 grams of crickets, crickets have a higher protein content than both beef and chicken at 63 grams, as well as higher calories at 447 kilocalories. Crickets also have higher omega-3 fatty acid and iron content. To be a possible contender in combating global malnutrition, we will need to look at mass rearing, the formulation of suitable diets, and different feeding techniques. The purpose of our study was to look at the effect of diet on the cricket's mean body weight, mean body length, mean body width, feed efficiency, survival rate, and the cricket's nutritional composition. Also, while speaking to Thailand's cricket farmers, we heard a common hypothesis or theme from most of them. Many farmers believed adding pumpkin, be it dry pumpkin pulp or fresh pumpkin, to a cricket's diet improved the cricket's nutrient contents and their growth parameters. So with our study, we decided to test that hypothesis as well. For our methods and procedures, to study body measurements, we used cricket eggs from a commercial Thailand farmer. All nymphs were immediately randomly assigned to one of 5 diet treatments. Each group was then assigned a breeding house, and each breeding house that they are reared in contained 1,000 nymphs. Each day, 50 crickets were randomly selected for 48 days, and their body measurements were taken. We measured for mean width and length, and mean length. To measure the effect of diet treatment on weight, we took 250 nymphs and divided them into 5 groups and randomly assigned them to one of 5 diet treatments and housed them similarly as the previous experiment. Each cricket group and the food consumed were then weighed daily. The 5 diet treatments were formulated as shown. The first was 250 grams a day of Pure Pride commercial feed, or PPF, with a content of 22% protein. The second was 250 grams a day of Bitagro chicken feed, or BF, with 16% protein contents. Third, 250 grams of Pure Pride with 100 grams fresh pumpkin pulp, or PPFP, with 18% protein contents. Fourth, 250 grams Pure Pride with 100 gram dry pulp pumpkin powder, or PPDP, with 20% protein contents. And lastly, a mix of 125 gram Pure Pride with 125 gram Bitagro, or PB, with 19% protein contents. To measure the nutritional contents of the crickets, we harvested them on their 49th day after having starved them for 8 hours and deprived them access to water for 4 hours to empty their gut. We then took 250 grams of females and 250 grams of males, froze them, and sent them to Thai lab for further analysis. We measured for the crickets' mean body weight, length, and weight, survival rate, feed efficiency, crude protein, fiber, fat, carbohydrate, and moisture content, as well as mineral and vitamin content relative to each cricket's diet. All experiments and analyses were completed in triplicate. On days 1 through 11, all the nymphs exhibited the same growth pattern. After the 11th day, variations in the number of days it took for the nymphs to become adults began. Those on the diets PPDP, PPFP, and PPE showed superior growth rates. They became adults in fewer days. The graph shown shows the cricket's age versus mean body width. We determined that mean width could not be used as a parameter because the variation was too great. This graph shows the age of the cricket versus their mean body length. For mean body length, PPDP and PPFP had the highest body length and BF had the lowest. Feeds with higher protein content had higher growth, and those with added pumpkin pulp had increased body weight and length. With that being said, this graph shows how PPDP, PPFP, and PPF had the highest body weight and the lowest body weight was BF, which was also the lowest protein content feed at 16% protein. This table shows our results pertaining to the cost of feeding per kilogram live weight gain, cricket's mean body size, FCR, and quantity of feed consumed. PPF showed to be the lowest cost of feeding per kilogram live weight gain. BF had the lowest body length, highest quantity of feed consumed, and highest feed conversion ratio, or FCR. And PPDP had the highest mean body weight and length and highest cost of feeding per kilogram live weight gain. This table shows the nutritional contents that resulted from each diet treatment. Those fed PPF had the highest protein and ash contents. BF had the highest fiber and highest carbohydrate contents, and those fed on PPFP had the highest dry matter and highest fat contents. We also measured for mineral contents, select mineral contents. Those fed on PPF had the highest contents of sodium, calcium, phosphorus, and potassium. PB had the highest content of zinc, and BF had the highest content of iron. All of our results showed that the crickets fared best on feed that contained 20 to 30% protein. We saw that increasing protein content of their diet enhanced their feed efficiency. BF had the highest FCR, so those crickets were the least efficient in converting feed to body size. PPF had the lowest FCR due to the higher protein content, and crickets that had a high protein, low fat content when they were fed a high protein, low fat diet. This relationship is likely with other nutrients as well. Example diets higher in vitamins, minerals, or fats are likely to have higher nutritional contents of those same nutrients. Also, our results show that survival rate was not affected by diet because the survival rate was near equal among all 5 diets. We determine this is likely because crickets are quite hardy, and when they are given adequate food and water, they are likely to thrive. Supplementation of 22% protein diet with either fresh pumpkin pulp or dry pulp pumpkin powder enhanced feed utilization estimated from FCR and improved weight gain. Fed crickets on 22% protein had the highest amount of protein and several minerals. Although the cost of dry pulp pumpkin powder infusion to 22% protein diet was the highest, these crickets had the highest vitamin content. But rearing crickets on 22% protein diet supplemented with fresh pumpkin pulp will lead to low protein, high fat, and low mineral nutritional contents. Crickets can efficiently be reared on 22% protein diet to maximize profit and improve mineral content. Supplementation of dry pulp pumpkin powder is not worth the cost when given the limited improvement in protein content and nutritional content. The farmer's hypothesis that the addition of pumpkin was therefore confirmed, but because the crickets did have high mean growth parameters and in some ways improved nutritional contents, but the nutrient contents were not the ideal ratio of protein to fat. When fresh pumpkin pulp was used, the fat contents were greatly raised because of the high carbohydrate content of the pumpkin. The cricket size was indeed high, the weight was highest, but the protein content was low and fat high, making it not an ideal food source. Those supplemented with dry pulp pumpkin powder had slightly more protein and vitamins, but not enough of a difference to offset the cost. Those fed the high protein, low fat diet would be an ideal food source to fight malnutrition and those diet related disorders. So for my critique to close, I found the study to be very interesting and a beneficial study in the fight against malnutrition. Further studies are needed, though, to analyze the effect of mineral and vitamin supplementation on feed conversion ratio and other growth parameters. And although the nutrient contents of crickets are so high in comparison to both beef and chicken, that is per 100 grams. In practice and reality, it is much easier to eat 100 grams of beef or chicken because of the nutrient density than it would be to eat 100 grams of crickets due to such factors as palate fatigue and just the sheer amount of crickets needed to eat to hit 100 grams. With that, thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I look forward to your questions.